I don't think we're waiting on anyone else ever, except for maybe Harry. I don't know if anyone's heard from Harry, but we can open the meeting anyway. Are we missing anyone else? I'm drawing a blank here. No? Okay, I'll open the meeting then. And first item is approval of the minutes. And unless somebody has an issue with any of the minutes, I'd like to just vote them as one vote, if possible. Did everybody get a chance to look them over?
I did, Mark, but I just have to abstain from the March 30th because I didn't attend the meeting.
Okay.
So.
Someone wants to make a motion to approve the March 30th minutes, and then we'll do the other ones as a group.
I'll move to accept the minutes, the 3 sets of minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? And then for the March 30th, does somebody want to make a motion for that one?
I'll make the motion to approve March 30th.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? And Danell abstains. Okay. Good. All right, so did everyone get a chance to look at the document that was sent out regarding Pinnacle Drive, the 40B? And I figured, you know, I'm happy to see that we were included on the list for comments. And, you know, to me, that means that, you know, the fact that we're being asked for comments is a good step in the right direction because we haven't been asked in the past, really. So, you know, if anybody has anything they want to discuss, if you have questions about it, you know, now's the time we can discuss it. And then if we feel fit to do it, we feel it's appropriate, then we can submit comments for the ZBA meeting, which I think is like tomorrow night or something. So.
Have we heard anything from Ashley in regards to this?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Heard anything from Ashley in regards to this?
I have not heard anything from her specifically in regard to this. Why do you ask?
Just wondering what her opinion is. I know she's probably sat in on more of the meetings and hearings about it, or has more information if they did an informal meeting. I just wanted to get her opinion on it, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to find out how she feels. I mean, I don't think anyone would be overly opposed to it other than the 40B aspect, but I think we've talked ad nauseum about the particular situation here in Walpole where, you know, 40B and affordable is very close in price to what market rate is. So I think Walpole is unique in that respect, where I don't believe we have to worry so much about 40B in terms of its quote unquote desirable or undesirable nature, because I think that because of the group of towns we're lumped in with, that we, you know, there's not that much of a difference in the cost. So from an economic development standpoint, you know, does anybody have any thoughts about that project down there? And
the only thoughts I have, it's nice to see it, you know, being done in a residential area, not taking up commercial land.
Yeah.
Not sacrificing any more commercial land in the town. So I know we got our quotas we got to meet and everything, so it's probably at the right place, you know, for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mark, I have a comment.
Sure.
I went down there. I can't figure out how they will get access into there. I went in that street next to the old mill project, you know, the duplexes that were built along the pond and then the street next to it. And I couldn't figure out how the hell they would get in there, but, it's,
Yeah, you know what I'd like to do is, if possible, even though, John, I know that you want to, if there was going to be a vote, that you would abstain for the vote, but I would like to use you, if you feel it's appropriate, to comment on that project and the property, and you know, maybe you could answer a lot of the questions that Ken and others might have regarding the you know, the specifics of the project.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I think that, yeah, I won't vote on it, but I don't think, I think traditionally what happens is on these, and again, I would just say, I was an owner and signed an agreement to sell that property to a developer who had the appetite to deal with the neighbors and the town. But Pinnacle was originally a project of February Realty Trust, and they were developing all along Bird Pond in East Walpole, where the former Bird and Son facilities and rail yards were. This piece was
Did we lose him, or is that my audio?
We lost him.
I think,
We lost you for a second, John. Hold on. John, keep talking though in a random sense, so we know if you came back.
Oh, okay,
There
sorry.
you are. Okay, we got you now.
So, long story short, the place went in, and that happens to many developments that went into receivership, and
yeah, lost it again.
Yeah, you may want to kill his video while he's talking, and maybe
Hey,
it's
John.
something.
You know what you're gonna have to do? You don't have I think you have a bandwidth problem, so kill your video and let's do just your audio for now.
25 homes were built. There's potential of another 74 that were supposed to be built there. The planning board was not thrilled about 12 units being built there. Now, ultimately, a 40B developer is just going to be trying to build less than was originally approved. He's going to build between 24 and 40, depending on what the neighbors want. But it is a general residence zone, and it's where we're, according to our zoning book, and I was here when we shaped all this for the town, this is where the multifamily and the affordable housing is supposed to be, in East Walpole, in the general residence zone. So, you know, from my point of view, it's already been approved several times for this use, and it's at less density than was originally approved for, and it's in the right location. And the key thing I like Donnell's comment is that for the first time, we're getting a project not just scaled properly or less than could be built, but also it's not in the taking business property away like Swan Pond did and the Bird Estates did. So those are good reasons. As far as, you know, whether this commission comments or not, this is way away from a final decision. I think probably Ashley hasn't even been to a meeting on this because they just do paperwork first. They solicit automatically things to all the 15 town boards and committees, and then they start having hearings and discussions, and they go through several iterations. So I don't think this is anything eminent or that anybody has any deep expertise on it at the current time, but it will evolve. And, you know, whatever the commission decide, they don't want to comment on it, that's fine. If they want to comment it.
Oh, lost it again.
John, hold up. We keep losing your audio. I think you have a bandwidth issue.
So I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but basically, You know, this, I'd much rather see the private enterprise and private sector and employees from town businesses work on the project as opposed to have government get into the construction and home building business and start having town employees building homes and building town housing, whatever that's all about.
Well, I don't think we disagree there. John, one question I have for you is, you know, you've been involved in the deal from the beginning, obviously, and you know as well as anyone, and I have a little bit of insight as to what kind of opposition they're going to see from the neighbors. I feel it's going to be very significant. Do you think that Petrosi is committed to this, or is he? Do you think he's just throwing it against the wall to see what happens?
Well, I think he's committed to it. I think he realizes it's could be a very attractive property, and I can't really get into his mind, but I think he's one of the few people who will step forward. So many builders have left Walpole; they wouldn't want to build anything in this town, given all the difficulties that in permitting and in approvals and et cetera, and regulations that trip people up. So it's nice to at least know there's one guy who is still willing to fight the fight and try to do something positive. You know, I've got a bias because of my background, but I mean, if you don't have developers coming and building $1 million roads, the town isn't building any $1 million roads. The town isn't building any sewer systems or water systems. You know, the town is the recipient of the gift of all that development. And if they do so and deny the guy making a profit or an incentive to do such projects, you won't have anything like that being done in the future. And, you know, it's, there's a guy, I'll just tell you a story because I think this is important and I don't really care what people think, but there was property on Eastover Road next to the Walpole Housing Authority that I had owned. And for 20 years, the housing authority said they wanted me to hold it for them and they were going to buy it. And of course, they never did. They always had an excuse. So I sold it to a developer who was going to build 12 units there on 5 acres. And the town put him through the holy ringer of 2 years of abuse and things you wouldn't believe. The poor guy, they went bankrupt. They business fell apart after like 8 years, successful years in Sharon. And one of the last things the man told me is he got delayed so many times on inspections and things by the town that he paid over $400,000 to keep his customers in hotels while they waited for the town inspections. And that was like the last straw that made them financially unable to finish it off. So, I mean, it sounds like a bloody story, but it is. But, you know, I hope that Petrosi has the ability to, you know, put up with everything and could be a very nice project. I don't see any reason why not. There's a lot of seniors who want to downsize and get into townhouses and condominiums and keep a foot in Walpole. And a lot of them have liaison to East Walpole and St. Mary's Church from a century ago. And I don't see why not. I mean, it gives them an alternative. And I don't think people who are anti-development, there's a lot of unusual attitudes in this town about housing. People keep having babies and children who want homes, but they don't want any homes built. It's kind of and of course, those are the real developers. The real developers are parents who have children, because that's what creates demand for more housing than we currently have. So that's my little 2 cents.
I don't necessarily disagree with any of that. And I'm glad you didn't go off the rails this time. I was kind of waiting for it, but you did well this time, John. Anybody else have any thoughts on it? Now, is everybody familiar where that is? It's kind of like built on the side of a pretty steep hill. John, and if I say something that's wrong or that has changed, correct me, okay?
Well, you can't see it from the street because it's down gradient about 20 feet, but it's 5 acres of land on the pond. It's not a small parcel at all.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's on the water. I mean, this has the opportunity to be a really nice property. In fact,
Oh, and incidentally, there's one other thing that people, this probably won't come up, but just to show you, when February owned the property, and you know this, Mark, kind of as a good gesture, Viano and I guess Wakefield transferred the Pinnacle land, the 20-some acres at the end of the street, to the town of Walpole. You know, so the town picked up probably the most beautiful part of the property before they began to develop. So, you know, there was trying to establish goodwill with the town, but, you know, what happens with, as time goes by, the goodwill wears out.
is there, do they still own that land?
No, it's deeded to the town. The town owns the Pinnacle. It was sold for like, I don't know, $5,000 or something. I don't know, some nominal fee.
Yeah, Mark, I had the same impression that you did. It's a pretty steep entry into the land, and I couldn't figure out where the construction vehicles and all will enter. Is it off one of those streets, John, or?
There's two parcels on Pinnacle Drive. One's like 300 feet wide, and one's 100 feet wide, that go back to the hill.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you wouldn't see it. Well, and that's kind of the beauty of it. If he does it the way it can be designed, so there's a roadway going back and it goes downhill and you don't see it. And if they leave the trees, you won't even know it's there, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there is going to be an awful lot of opposition to it. And the reason I say that is just because of past experience. When John, you were looking at this when I sat on planning board, and you were looking at market rate units, correct?
Yeah.
And even market rate was getting serious pushback from the neighbors. So I can imagine just the thought process of 40B is going to send some sort of panic throughout some of those neighbors. But
Well, yeah, just in fairness, I just have to say this because this aggravates the living hell out of me. Every family that bought on Pinnacle Drive bought a home. We're told and showed plans, and we're told that was a multifamily lot. We showed there would be probably more, could be as many as 30 units. And they all agreed that that was fine, and they were aware of what they were buying. And then, 10 years later, they forget everything. And then they don't want, they were offered to buy the property. They were offered to participate in the plans for it. And Mark, you were on the planning board. And people, they just thought, we can oppose anything. We don't want we don't want what somebody else is building on their land. You can oppose it. So this was the attitude. And I got aggravated. I said, gee, I'll just wash my hands of this because these people are totally unfair and unreasonable, trying to do economic injury. And they don't really care about the town. They just care about themselves. So that's life.
and
Every person in town that was voting on the new soccer fields for the town down in South Walpole, I guess everybody, and your daughter's a soccer player, Mark, I guess all the older people that don't have a kid playing soccer could say, hey, screw them, not my interest. The hell with the soccer field. Screw the kids. I don't have any.
a lot of people did say that.
Attitude, you're right. When you talk about consumer opposition, it's, a lot of it's not well-based.
Well, anybody else have any comments on it? And the reason
So just for my sake, the entrance will be on, from Pinnacle Drive, right? So it'll be in and out off of Pinnacle Drive, go down the hill, wind around the pond. So it'll be one entrance in or out, from what I saw from the picture, right? So single entrance in and out.
Right, that's what I suspect.
Okay, and then obviously the opposition will be as stated that, what are these multifamily units coming in behind me, even though I'll never see them from my backyard per se.
There's really only a couple of backyards that you might see anything from, right, John?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and those,
There's one street that kind of goes down behind Pinnacle that there's a couple of houses on, Misty Lane or something like that. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I don't know what the question is, but yeah, there's homes on Misty Lane, yeah.
And I think the people down on Misty might be able to see up that way from the back way, maybe, but that's about it.
I don't think so, because there's a lot of forest down there.
I was gonna say, there's a buffer, there's a lot of tree buffer there anyway, so they won't see a lot of that. So, okay. So from an economic development standpoint, what do people think that our comments should be framed as? That, we're in favor of it, we like the fact that it's on residential, not commercial. Those are just my notes. It'll add to the affordable housing number that we're trying to achieve. So those are all benefits that I see and a reason to be in favor of something. Anybody have anything else that they might want to include?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, okay. I will put something like that together and send it out to everybody, just because it's tough to have everybody look at it now that we can vote on it. But do we want to vote that I'll put a draft together, send it out to you, and barring anything awful, which there won't be, we can submit it?
That's fine. I'll make a motion that Mark draft a letter in response to the 40B development off of.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll second it.
Aye.
Aye.
All abstain? John's abstaining. Okay, good. John, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I think that it's easier to understand what's going on when you have somebody that was there firsthand than just trying to read it off a set of plans that say we're thinking about doing this. Main Street Live feasibility, and every day that goes by, I'm starting to feel that it's less feasible. If I had to guess, I'd say that we're probably not even going back to school in the fall. And who knows? I hope we do. I mean, I have a daughter that's starting her freshman year somewhere. The last place I would want her to start her freshman year is at home, but that's the world we live in right now. So having said that, I hope they go back, but I think that if they are still trying to decide if they're going to go back to school, I think Main Street Live at the same time frame would be foolhardy to try to even plan at this point. Anybody else have thoughts?
I kind of agree with you, Mark. I mean, at this point, with social distancing and all that's going on and not allowing large gatherings, I can't conceive it going off this year. Unfortunate, but we'll get back to it the year after and make it bigger and better.
I agree. I think we would run the risk of, there's too much downside and not enough upside. And the downside is both real and empirical, with the fact that having large groups in this environment is not good, but it's also, I have a feeling we would get a lot of, what are they doing? Why are they having this? There's so much going on, and they want to have people come out in this, and it would be, just the look of it, I don't think would be great at this point. I don't think I'd feel really good about advertising it or trying to get sponsor money, trying to talk through why on earth we're even having this. So,
I agree.
So I think
I'll gladly make the motion to postpone it until September of 21.
I'll second that, Kevin.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so it's a full vote, and I agree. It's unfortunate. It's a great time. The town has really come to expect that event. They look forward to it. But, you know, it is what it is. There's more going on that needs to be dealt with other than that. So I at least feel a little bit better that we don't even have to worry about that now, that we can just move forward and plan for bigger and better next year. I will make an announcement on that on the webpage, the social media, and just maybe have Walpole Rec put it out too, that it's being postponed until 2021. Last thing, so I had sent an email to Jim O'Neill, and I should have thought of this, my fault. After the election, they have their own election, and Jim is not the chair anymore of the select board. It's now Ben Barrett. So over the last day or so, 2 days, Ben and I shared emails, and we're going to get on the phone early next week, like Monday or Tuesday, and get a time where we can get in front of Ben and the select board to work on our mission and our goals for the upcoming year. Ben's got a real positive attitude, and I think it'll work out for us in the end. Not that Jim didn't, but everything's fresh now and we can move forward. But I just wanted to update people on that. The only thing really that was available for Ashley to track down were those, I guess they're end of year statements or end of year roundups, if you will, that went into the town report.
Right. Looks like.
We have not filed one of those in a long time. Maybe 3 years, Danelle, from what I can see.
That's what I'm looking at too. I agree with you.
Danelle, the last one that was filed, I believe you were chair. And did Liz write that on our, so she wrote it on our behalf, basically, right?
Yes.
So, is this something that we ought to try to put together it's tough without having a Liz Dennehy or someone that is active with us on an ongoing basis.
Well, it's supposed to be Ashley's responsibility. She should be doing it, I believe. I don't see any reason why she can't do it.
Yeah, so maybe, you don't necessarily have to be, because of the nature of what it is, we could send her bullet points and then she could write it up with all the other data that's there and then submit it to the town report.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know when that would be due, so I'll have to look into that.
Do you know when all these were put in?
Like individually, or?
Well, when does all the information for town report have to be in by?
That I don't know, so I'm gonna have to find that out. I'll send a note to Ashley, and she may not know that
Came
yet
to
either.
me, when I did it, it was early in the year, maybe January or February, or for the previous fiscal year.
Does anyone know when the town report comes out?
Pardon me?
Do you know when the town report comes out?
Yeah, it comes out in the summer, I believe.
So right after the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah.
More like September.
Is it?
Yeah, that sounds right, John.
But usually it used to be the people that produced it, but then Jim Johnson took it over. So usually he's the one that tells people to get the things in and coordinates it through his secretary, Cindy, of when they're going to publish it and when everything has to be in her hands. So I don't know with the COVID, maybe they're not having one. I don't know what's going on with.
Is that town report a requirement? Is that like a
I think
state
so.
requirement?
So
Yeah.
It's a very valuable information piece, not just historically, but operatively. And it'd be a
So it must be
tragedy.
a state requirement to file that town report. So COVID or no COVID, they're gonna have to file something. So I'll find out through Ashley. And then obviously down to Jim as to, you know, if we were going to provide something, when that would need to be in. And then I'll work with Ashley to get that done.
They're probably waiting for the photo op with the shovels at the new ball fields.
I think that ship sailed. Aren't they almost done up there? Every time I drive by, it looks like they're making huge progress. So we'll see about that. But yes, I get your point, Harry. It is a photo op opportunity.
Mark, could I ask a question here? You mentioned that you talked to the new chairman of the selectmen, Ben.
Well, I haven't talked to him. We've shared an email planning to talk.
So you don't anticipate that meeting being for a while, probably till maybe the end of the summer, or?
I don't know. I think, and again, I'm speculating on this, but my feeling is the select board would like to get this off their plate. I know Ben is very proactive with things. And, you know, I think he sees value in the committee. So I think that, yeah, he'd be motivated not only to get it off his plate, but to get us on a track that he feels and we feel is productive. So I don't think he'll put it off 1 minute longer than he would have to put it off. I think if we could be in next week, that he would do it. But again, that's just an opinion that I've garnered from speaking with him on other issues. And his general demeanor is one of being helpful and trying to get things accomplished. So, and I'm not saying that to say that the previous chairs have not been that way, but you know, I was asked the question of how I felt about Ben. So I think he is the type of guy that if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And he sat in on our meetings before on other issues. So certainly his motivation to get things moving in the right direction on many different fronts is there. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I think we just have to work with him to become relevant. And I think that he's somebody that will find a way for us to be so. But again, that's just opinion.
So, as far as staffing goes, you think that, I mean, basically the liaison person, probably you don't want to ask for them to designate someone else to assist your commission at this point?
Well, I think that that's certainly going to be near the top of the list of what we need to be effective. And I think that, you know, if someone held a gun to my head and said, what do you think is going to happen? I would say that we will work towards a solution that works for Ashley. And unless they move her into a different position, which I don't have any insight on, or I don't have any knowledge about what their thoughts are with her or what her thoughts are on the position or anything else. But I don't think they're going to hire someone else, is what I'm saying. So I think we are going to try to get to a point where Ashley feels comfortable working with this committee. And that's about where we are with that. I don't think we are going to have another option other than Ashley. And whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, I don't know. She's extremely intelligent. I think we just all need to be able to figure out what our jobs are and what we've either committed to do is in our job description or what we volunteered to do. And one of those three things or two of those three things are going to be applicable, and we just have to do it. But we have to find out what those items are. And I don't believe we're going to be able to find that out until we talk to the select board. But if anybody, again, you know, if anybody has any input or thoughts on it, you know, I definitely am interested in hearing it because, you know, I hear the frustration and
we basically can't do anything without someone in that position being actively involved with us, not just a person that does our minutes and kind of does remedial tasks. We can get anyone to do that. We need someone who's active in the position, and I'm not saying Ashley can't do that. They've got her doing so many things. I don't even know what her job description is anymore, but to know that is not in my job description. So yeah, I don't know what to say in that respect.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to stay on the topic, but I mean, basically, if I understand correctly, she was hired without any input from this commission. No one here interviewed her or looked at her resume or looked at any other candidates or were asked what went wrong with the other people that were in that position who left. The two guys, John and Tim, that left so quickly. We didn't really know why. They just, I mean, there's kind of a lot of mystery there. I mean, if the town administration is going to use that person, however, like, you know, for their projects and whatever, and there's no real linkage between that individual or commission unless they see fit on a interval basis to show, you know, that's really strange. So, I mean, I know there were other people. There's Amy up there who could probably at least come to meetings and be a communication link and make sure we have proper meetings posted and minutes and.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's being kept from us. You know, Amy does a nice job. She put together all the minutes for us at Ashley's request, I think. But regardless,
that's what I'm saying. She did a good job, I think.
So, but I think that, yeah, Amy would do a great job at that, and probably anything else we asked. But I think we need more than an administrator. I think we need someone that has the qualities of a community liaison, economic development liaison, you know, to go beyond the administrative stuff. But again, I don't know if we'll get that. I think certainly the ability is there with Ashley, but again, I don't even know what her job description is. And like I said, if you look at any meetings that are on Walpole Media, you're going to see her in a lot of meetings. And I don't know if you'd ever see someone with the title of Economic Development Director in ZBA, Planning Board, all these meetings, and not just being there to learn, but being an active participant. So I think we just need to find out what they expect of her and then find out where we fit in, truthfully.
Mark, we need a person in the community needs a person like that.
I agree.
It's just not attending ZBA. It's somebody going out and helping businesses and going after businesses and getting businesses done. It's a position that nobody's doing right now because our person gets put away into the ZBA, into the planning board, and into that stuff where they already have secretaries and they don't want to do a town planner. In the meantime, economic development gets hurt.
I agree.
So it's not
everything you're saying, Danelle, is right on the money, but as I'm sitting here right now, I don't believe they're going to hire anyone else.
I don't believe they can either, but the town's got to make a decision if they want to make the investment in the town. And, you know, that's a good way to do it, to bring in businesses to help with the tax base and to get it going the right way. And it's just not having somebody for us to do. It's something the community needs, not just our board. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Stephanie was really good at that.
Yes.
And that's probably the last time we had somebody who was good at that, really reaching out to the community. She did a great job.
I think Liz Dennehy was there too, but they just pulled her in too many directions, which I think they're doing with Ashley as well. I think the Liz thing kind of morphed into her planning, where that was starting to pick up all of her time. I think more recently,
it was known going into it what the job was going to be. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, if we were considered relevant, if we were considered important, more than just when people are being pleasant and nice and cordial, but if we were relevant and important as a committee, we would have somebody. And right now, the view of the Economic Development Committee is not of one of importance or of any influence. So that maybe, that's my fault. Maybe that's our fault. Maybe we haven't done enough to make ourselves important.
Yeah, Mark, on that other hand, we need the tools to be able to do that, and that person's the tool.
Yep, I don't disagree. I think that they have to decide if they want us to be relevant and important. And if so, we need that tool. And if they don't care, then we're where we are. And I think after that meeting, we'll find out. Because you're right, Danelle. The bottom line is, without a dedicated person, I think that's a non-starter towards anything being productive out of that select board meeting.
It's like hiring an IT person and not giving them a computer.
No, it's like buying a computer and not giving them an IT person. You got the hardware, but you don't know how to use it. That's the problem.
Well, worst case scenario, guys, we just do Main Street Live. Oh.
Yeah, but then we're just a party planning committee, and I'm not saying that Main Street Live's not important, but,
But I feel like since I've been on the board, it's the same, it's the discussion over and over and over again that we're having.
yeah, so the point being is, are we just getting, kind of pushed down the road, or, do we have a spot to be influential and relevant? And that's what we have to find out, I guess.
Let's see what happens with Ben then.
Well, here's what the biggest problem in my view is. If it doesn't go beyond where we are now, they're going to be trying to fill 8 slots because there's no one that sits on this committee that has time to spin wheels and do nothing. I mean, if you look at the people on this committee, I mean, I feel, when Danelle just talked about the IT guy and the computer, I feel like we've got some great hardware and they're using it to play solitaire. They're not using it to do what we should do. And I think that the components are all there for this board to do great things. And
I totally agree with that.
I don't think we're able to do those great things because we're not being used. They're not even plugging us in right now. So, when we get in front of the select board, this is one of the things that we need to come right out and say that, look, we need to use the tools that we've assembled here. And here's what we need to do that. And we need the town's help in making this happen. Other than that, we're a party planning committee and I can turn them on to a couple of companies that do that for a small fee and, whatever. But they don't need, an economic development committee with this type of personnel to do what we've been doing. In my opinion, it's been a waste of time. Certainly not a waste of time like me rolling my eyes saying, why am I doing this? It's a waste of the time of the talent that I think we have on this committee. So, I think the cordial nature of it needs to be put on the side a little bit, and we have to say, look, here's what we need, and here's why it won't work without this. Now, how are we going to make this happen? And the number one on that list is a dedicated town employee that works with the Economic Development Committee, in my opinion. And I think, Danelle, that's exactly what you were saying. Other than that, we're dead. So I'm going to push that meeting as early as I can with Ben. I know that they, at least the select board has us on their radar screen a little bit, that they want to get this done. So let's go in and see what they say. We have our absolute needs and our would like to have, so we also have our must-haves, and our must-haves are Ashley or an Ashley type of person that needs to be dedicated to us.
Yeah, could I say something, Mark?
Yep.
Maybe we could focus more on our, on a fall workshop or the Walpole Country Club event. And have us all dig down and try to get more involvement of the business community with the chamber, Harry, and our commission. Because I think part of it is that we don't get the strength except on 1 or 2 meetings a year. We don't have any real involvement with the business community that would allow us not just to feed back to the town what they want and what they need, but also to engage them in additional functions and activities other than what we've traditionally done.
I think that's a good idea. I think that'll be a good way for us to
give us something to work for and work towards anyway,
Yeah.
to try to plan that and try to reinvigorate both the commission and the chamber and the interactions and the amount of people that are, that's because that isn't entertainment. I think a workshop event can be more of a goal-oriented planning, feedback, communications undertaking.
Right. I think that's a good idea. I think we should, I think that'll be something easy to plan. I think something like that is, in today's world, mid to late fall, I think people by then are going to be very accustomed to social distancing, and having an indoor event will be no problem in terms of how it would work. People will be accustomed to those actions by then. It'll be second nature with distancing and everything else. So I think that's a good idea, John. I have never attended one of the business forums, so I can't go off of what has happened in the past. So, if I had my way, someone that has done it before, or that has managed it or helped put it together, like Harry and other people on the board, throw some ideas together and maybe we can restart this thing and see. I wouldn't set a date yet, simply because, again, we don't know when things are going to loosen up, if they're going to go sideways or backwards, like they are in other states. So I think we should get maybe by the end of August or September, see where things are going, and then maybe plan a date at that point. I don't think we'll have to plan it too far out, because I think by then people are going to be itching to do something. So I think a 2 or 2.5 month lead time at the beginning of September might work out okay for putting together something like this, even if we have to start small. We might not have a choice but to start small, depending on where things are going. So does anybody want to maybe put some ideas together on paper and send them around? And
I've been involved in all of them, Mark, so I can work on it, and I'll get you some information on the previous meetings. I have some notes on them. And
that'd be great. Yeah,
what worked and what didn't, and so forth.
Perfect. That would be really great. And Harry, I know you've tried to do a lot, and then you get held up by us or held up by other things, and any input you might have as well would be great.
Sounds good. Maybe could start with the EDC chairman showing up some chamber events.
Ooh.
Have I ever been invited to them?
Every time.
When's the next event?
Tomorrow evening at 4 p.m. at Jalapeno's tent, we'll be having our year-end meeting and giving out our scholarship awards.
Oh, nice. Did I get that invite?
I believe you did.
I did not.
You must have got it. I bet you got it on Facebook.
I don't go on Facebook anymore. You know what? I'm tired of having heartburn and a rapid heartbeat and throwing my computer across my room. So I gave up Facebook.
Okay.
I broke too many laptops.
Are we all invited to that, Harry?
Yes, come
Are
out.
we all invited?
Yeah, come on down, support Ricardo's Restaurant. We'll be in the tent in the back. And, because of social distancing, whatever, we'd probably just, if you come in, there'll be tables around. You probably just have to order your own food individually, though.
What time's that start, Harry?
4:00. We'll go from 4 to 6.
Good. I'll attend.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Gonna have the temperature gun, Harry?
Yeah.
They only have the one that goes in the opposite direction there.
It's interesting how fast this thing moves because, little side story here, I won't take too long, but my daughter goes to a basketball camp every year. Anybody that's had kids in this town knows Rebel Hoop Camp, right? So they changed it over to the Dave Wall camp, but it's the same camp. It's run by those guys, and they do it over in Stoughton. And the oldest year you can go is when you're in 8th grade and the following fall going into your freshman year. That's the oldest group. So my daughter gets down there yesterday, Monday, has her first day, no problem. And at 11:30 last night, we all get an email saying that one of the girls at the high school soccer captain's practices has tested positive for COVID. And that because these girls are all athletes, a lot of these girls that were now at this basketball camp also were partaking in those things. So now the Rebel Hoop Camp at that age group is completely done. None of the girls are going back. They're all getting tested, but now they're trying to figure out where all these girls have been, who they've been, so something that quick can just shut everything down. The soccer practices, the basketball camp, everything. And so it's pretty crazy out there. The reason I was saying that is, it's funny that, testing the temps and everything else, but it's like, to me, it was amazing. She gets home from camp, everybody has dinner, you're doing your thing at night, and then the next morning, you're one step removed from someone that tested positive. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what just happened? So now, even though my daughter was 2 steps removed, she can't go back to her club soccer practice until she has a negative test. So even getting a test now is still a pain in the butt. So we got to figure that one out. But again, point being, I don't know if they're going to be testing everybody, but I'll tell you.
Mark, you can take her to Norwood Urgent Care tomorrow. They'll be testing there tomorrow. They test certain
that's right.
days.
Did your daughter get tested?
Yeah, we did go to Bellingham today to get tested.
Yeah, I know that tomorrow Norwood's getting a lot of those rapid tests back. So
2 to 9 days to get your results.
yeah, it's crazy though, isn't it?
Yep.
You just go about your life, put on your mask, watch the news a little bit, and then all of a sudden you get, oh, hey, your daughter knows someone that knows someone. And it's like, oh,
Yep.
no.
Is that the antibody test or the positive negative test?
The positive, negative, the swab in the nose.
And they're doing that tomorrow?
Well,
They have it, yeah. Norwood offers it certain days of the week, not every day. Because we wanted my daughter to get tested today because she got this news last night. She was at that soccer practice or whatever it was, where the girl had tested positive. So we went to Bellingham today to urgent care, which is part of the same system as the Norwood urgent care, and they were doing the tests today. So it takes 10 seconds for the test to happen.
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. So, point being, it's so hard right now because all you need is one, and it just sends everybody into,
You just have to do it. You have, once you've been in contact, you gotta get tested.
Yeah. So anyway,
based on her
having said
results,
that, I will be there.
Well, funny enough, I got a call earlier from the football coach saying I have to send an email out to everybody, which I did, that a girl from the girls soccer team got tested positive. So it just now is going to trickle down to everybody. So we don't know who's hanging with who.
But they are hanging. I will tell you, if you look at any social media, not a whole lot of social distancing going on between friends right now. And it's hard to keep telling your kid, hey, no, you can't. Because even mine does it, with a couple of her closest friends, but I think even that is dangerous again at this point. You just never know. But anyway, okay, so Harry, I'm going to be at your thing tomorrow night. If anybody else can go down, that'd be great.
I'll be there.
Yeah, tequila.
Relevance is the importance right now for us. So to Harry's point, yes, we should be taking an active role in some of these things. And as soon as I get word from Ben on that meeting, then I'll let everyone know. And, quite frankly, whether it's an in-person meeting or whether it's a Zoom meeting, I don't want to just have like EDC representation there. I want, anybody that can make it, I want there, because I want them to know how important we as a group feel this is, not just one or two people. I think it'll be more impactful the more people we have there, able to speak, able to give your experiences and what you expected coming in and what you'd like to have come from this board. I think that would be important. So I'll leave that with you. And are you muted, Danelle?
I'm not going to be available till August 2nd, but get it done as soon as you can. I'm away the next week.
I don't think it'll happen before then anyway, but I'll let you know if it does. Why? Where are you going?
Yeah.
Someplace without a computer and without Wi-Fi?
Rock Island. The far side of the earth.
Mark.
Yay, happy travels.
Mark, they've waited all these years to talk to us. They can wait. The commission gets together and everyone's present, okay? I think that's a necessity. That's just out of common respect.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of dates from them, available times, and then I'll find out, I'll send it out to everybody, and because I think it's important to have everyone there as well.
Mark, if you can get Tuesday of the month at 5 o'clock at one of our regular meetings, then do that. We'll just have our meeting at the selectman's office.
Yeah, I'll suggest we have it maybe at our August meeting. I think that would be great,
Okay.
if everyone's gonna be available.
But make sure Donnell's gonna be back.
I will.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Any thoughts, anything?
One question, anybody know what's going on with the solar panels up in North Street now?
Has that raised its head again?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard anything.
I did see something from Sue Shockett. Harry, did you get that email?
Yes,
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it looks like
go ahead.
it looks like the Aggie has the potential to. The land is valued at 2.2 million, I believe, and the solar panels could go in at a rent of about $200,000 a year with a 1.5% escalator each year. And it sounds like it's not visible at all from the street. It's the land next to Walden Road. So for Norfolk Aggie, which sounds like financially they've been struggling a little bit from what this email mentions, this would help them immensely. So it's driven by economics for the school by the Norfolk County.
Is this the same, hey, Harry, is this the same overlay project they were trying to do years ago?
Yes, there's two pieces that they're looking at. The North Street up near where the daycare went, and then there's another piece that's in between the Aggie School and that Walden Drive that.
Yeah, because that's two different areas.
Right.
So Walden Drive one
One's
would
much
make
bigger than
sense.
the other.
Walden Drive one, if that's an economic driver for the school, certainly makes sense. The overlay up by near where the daycare is, in my opinion, a disaster. But again, I don't know enough about the one down by Walden Drive. But are they talking about both of those, or is it just the Walden Drive project?
Both of them. both of them.
Yeah, it's basically once the town gave the land to the Aggie school. Now the Aggie school will have to give the land back to the town, so then the town can then lease it and, you know, get their revenue, take their piece and give Aggie their piece. So once that, you know, deposit slip starts going on the first piece, then they're going to look at the other one.
Yeah, but on the second piece up at the top of North Street, isn't that county land?
It is.
Again,
I don't get that. Yeah.
The
The town deeded land to the county with stipulations on it for agriculture, for the agricultural school. The Norfolk Aggie is a county government. They don't make and lose money and run businesses. They get a budget from the county. So that's BS as far as I'm concerned. They're not hurting. Their budgetary process is in Quincy with the county government. They got nothing to do with what they're doing at Norfolk Aggie School.
And I also think because of the way it's zoned up there, from my understanding, because of the way it's zoned, they would have to get a zone overlay approved at the planning board level, correct?
It's zoned, it's zoned passive government and passive recreation limitation.
I think it's zoned rural
So
agriculture.
PSA, it's not rural. No, it's zoned it's zoned like all the other government land in town is. So that isn't supposed to be used for commercial.
It's not what I remember when we were looking at that overlay on the planning board. You might be right, John. I'm not saying you're not, but I remember it being trying to go from rural and agricultural to an overlay of, there's like this new overlay, solar something, I forget what it is, but, and that's where it stopped at the planning board level last time. Now things might have changed since then, but.
It's by a site basis, Mark. That's not true.
Okay.
The underpinning land up there is government passive recreation, period. That's PSRO. It's been the zone that way for 20 years. And it's supposed to be for government uses. The town of Walpole passed an ordinance that allows the town meeting to stipulate a floating overlay zone for solar in finite places that is deemed appropriate by the town, like Bird Machine site in South Walpole.
Yeah.
Okay? But that's voted as a specific, site-specific, tailored overlay through application to town meeting, not by town hall. I mean, I don't know, maybe they should go in start running CVS's, running the drugstores and supermarkets stuff. What the hell, they're getting into everything else. I mean, the communist.
Let me ask one, John, before you get off.
What do we even have business for? We could just,
Let me ask one question. Let me ask one question to, hold on a second, I'm just looking at my notes here. I'm sorry, I forget, who said it was something for the Aggie because they need to raise money?
I'll send you the email as soon as we're done, so you can all see it.
All right.
who's the email from, Brian?
I'll have to send it to you. It's from Norfolk County Stationery for the county.
It's the county government that we gave the land to, stipulated to be used for the agricultural school. And it was zoned passive recreation government use, okay? Now, they came before us and tried to change that so they could make money putting big solar projects in Walpole where they'd never paid any taxes. And to the demise of the neighbors up there in North Walpole that live next to that property. And the neighbors didn't want it. And there was no benefit to the town of Walpole. So,
my question would be, I don't know, Brian, if you have any insight to this based on your email. Is there any truth to the fact that the Aggie needs to raise funds and this is a viable way? Or, and I don't know the answer to this, but my response would be different depending on what the answer would be. Because obviously, if truly the Aggie was in financial trouble and needed to find a way to raise funds, okay, but is this the county trying to do an end around on something that got denied the first time, and now they're trying to find a way to revive it? guess that would be my question. If the school
So-
needs funding, I might be behind that. If it's the county just trying to do an end around, that's a whole different story.
Well, the county controls their budget, so they could obviously, if they politically wanted to, reduce their budget by 200,000 and say, gee whiz, you're gonna have a shortfall unless you convince Walpole to give you the solar project that they denied previously. I mean,
On the one previously that was up near the daycare, wasn't Walpole getting some annual funding from that?
well, not originally, but then it got modified. In other words, that's the government. They sweeten the pot, let's all get a piece of the pie. Yeah,
Well, so in this
So, I mean,
situation, why would the Aggie get the money and not the town of Walpole?
Mark, the Aggie school has to give the land rights back to the town of Walpole. Then Walpole is gonna give the rights to Norfolk County. And I can guarantee, well, I don't wanna say guarantee, but I would guess that they're gonna get a piece of whatever Norfolk County earns.
The letter is from Michael Mullen Jr., County Director, to Chairman Connors and members of the Norfolk County Advisory Board. And the title of it is Offer to Lease Land to the Town of Walpole. That's the first letter, and then there are multiple letters that follow this. It's a very long email, but Harry may be spot on.
Well, given what they've tried to do in the past, I think he probably is right. They make it
It's a
sound.
39-page letter. So I tried to send it from my phone and I can't. So when we're done with this call, and I need to jump soon, I will forward it to all of you.
All right, I'd be interested in seeing that too, Brian, so if you could.
So put that on the radar for your next agenda.
Yeah, I definitely will. That's something to look into because the dominoes will fall if that's an end around. I don't want to ever say, oh, no, we want to stop the Aggie from funding themselves. But at the end of the day, I don't trust any of them after sitting through those planning board meetings and listening to the utter fairy tales that they were coming up with trying to get that overlay done.
Yeah, like John said, though, the Aggie school has a budget every year. We fund a certain percentage. It's not much. It's like 400,000, I think, a year. The town of Walpole does, but then Norfolk County also funds it. So they've got a budget, and whatever their budget is, they live within their means. They do other things as far as selling some agriculture and stuff like that, but I don't think it's a matter of the Norfolk Aggie needing money.
yeah. The other thing, just for 1 second, is that again, the town meeting voted to go 100% green in Walpole by the year 2030, I think, Harry, if you were at that town meeting.
2050.
So, we're gonna have to have solar panels on the fire trucks. But when it come up to discussing where can we put solar and making a zone that private people and business people could do solar, no. It's gonna be by special overlay. Only the town government can decide where that's gonna be put in after the fact. So you're denying the business community the right to do it, to the private sector to do it, and you're putting all the marbles in the hands of the government to move the shell game around to the county and this nonprofit school and the town, and they're moving the little shells around and get all this all. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I guess you can't keep your finger in the dike forever, but it seems like this the socialist wave tsunami is friggin'.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but I think that we should take the time to look into it. So Brian, if you could get that out to all of us, that'd be great. If anybody doesn't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting.
All in favor?
Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Talk
Be
soon.
safe. Bye.